And welcome back, everyone. I'm Jeff Hullinger. It has been 24 hours since the Associated Press and major networks, including NBC, called the presidential race for Joe Biden. President-elect Biden's lead in Georgia is now more than 10,000 votes, although a recount is on the way, and it gives Georgia Democrats hope for the two remaining Senate runoffs. But Republicans look at their successful history in runoff elections, particularly recently, and appear confident about what looms ahead for January 5th. Joining me right now is Dr. Bernice King, the CEO of the King Center. Dr. King, thanks for being with us on this Sunday morning. We really appreciate it. Doug Richards did a story a couple of minutes ago about how Democrats traditionally in these Senate runoffs have not shown up as much as Republicans. Do you think that changes this time around, and how does that happen in your estimation?
Well, as the CEO of the King Center, of course, I have to remain nonpartisan in answering this question. But I think what's important this time is that people wanted to vote their conscience. People are looking for change all across this nation, including in their various states. And so, I think that, this time people are going to show up the polls in ways that are unimaginable. We've already seen that in the presidential election. And so I'm excited that people have awakened to their responsibility as citizens of these United States to exercise that sacred right to vote and realize that we have a voice. And we can never forget that. We can never go back to the days where we see it as an option.
I'm looking this morning during the commercial break. I saw a Twitter note that Stacey Abrams says in Fair Fight she has raised $3.5 million in the last 2 days. You can't say enough about what her impact has been on the race, not only in Georgia, but around the country, of getting people involved. Sort of a follow-up to the late Congressman John Lewis, who was so adamant, so passionate for all of his life about trying to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to vote in this country.
Yeah, and I honor Stacey Abrams. She turned a situation where she felt and possibly the election was taken away from her. She turned that into a very strong positive. And I honor her for that. I respect her for that. An amazing job that she did of organizing, because what really makes the difference in any election, what makes the difference in even issues that we're being faced with in this nation, is something that my father often reminded us of in his writing, in particular, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. He said, our nettlesome task would be to organize our strength into compelling power. So that the government can elude our demands, or I say the people in power can elude our demands. And she certainly organized that strength all across, not just Georgia, but this nation. So I don't think people need to forget that Fair Fight is beyond Georgia. Yeah, and she is to be applauded for those efforts to awaken people to their citizenship responsibility, and not just leading them out there. Because so often, especially historically in the African-American community, we focus on, just getting people to vote. Sure. But in this instance, because there's been issues around voter suppression and even voter integrity, she was there the entire time. She gave people processes and procedures to follow. They had a safe space and a safe place to go.
But these are such complicated times. I mean, we talk about change. Joe Biden gets 74 million, Donald Trump gets 70 million. I mean, that's a lot of people on the other side. A divided nation, despite the pandemic, despite all that we have seen over the course of the last year. That sort of idealism, left and right, remains very much entrenched at this point.
Yes, it very much is. And so we have to change our strategy. Our strategy now has to do more work grassroots across our party lines. We focus a lot across legislative and political party lines, but we need to begin to cross party lines in our communities. And I think we can get beyond the divisiveness. We're going to always vote whatever party is there. As long as we have a two-party system primarily, people are going to vote Democrat or Republican, but we don't have to be divisive in the way we approach our political beliefs and how we engage our government. And so that's what's going to be important. How do we cross our lines and begin to engage each other and understand each other and find a pathway that is a win-win pathway?
Dr. Bernice King, CEO of the King Center, on this Sunday morning. Thanks for being with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Still